the end of this day, one shall stand, one shall fall.
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at Beast Wars 2nd Lio Convoy, also known as Lio Prime, and I love this toy. Check this guy out. He is just so cool looking. Now, you're probably wondering why we're not looking at a truck or a gorilla, and that's because Beast Wars 2nd was a cartoon series that came out in Japan. And it followed, it came after Beast Wars here in the States. And it's a series that we didn't get here in the States. And I kind of wish we had, because I've not been able to see the whole thing. But what I have seen of it, it looks like a really cool, awesome series. What I've seen so far, I absolutely love. And in that series, our Prime character, our Optimus Prime character, was Lio Convoy. And he turned into a white lion, as you see here, and he was such a cool character, and here he is right here. So he falls right in with our Prime collection. So we're going to be taking a look at this guy. Now, released in 1998, I'm not quite sure what this guy went for, because doing research, I've not been able to find a website that tells me exactly what his original MSRP was. So just judging based on his size and what overseas releases can be, I would probably put this guy somewhere between lowball $20 to $40. Somewhere in that neighborhood is where I'm going to guess this guy was when he was originally released. If anybody knows, by all means, please leave me a comment below and let me know. So right here in lion mode, he is approximately 10 inches long from head to tail. And he's about 4.5 inches tall right here to the top of the mane. As far as articulation, he's got some articulation and carries over from his robot mode. But there's not a whole lot you can do with it because typically your beast mode transformers just kind of stand static in beast mode. But there's some stuff that we can do with it. His tail does move up and down. You can pose these legs around. He's got a double joint on what is going to become later the robot knee. He's got some rotation right here at the ankle, and these paws can move up and down. Okay, so you can do some posability, but not a whole lot with him. Over here in the front, you've got these claws, and they just move up and down, and they're on a ball joint, so you can rotate them as well. But you can't really do much if you put them anywhere but where they are right now. If you try to put them any higher, they don't go much higher than where they are now. But if they did, he'd be on his tippy toes, and if you put them down any lower, then his feet aren't flat on the ground, and that just kind of looks silly. So really, that's kind of the only pose you're going to get with him, and you can just kind of move his tail around. But that's fine. We typically don't pose him in beast mode anyway. And for beast mode, if you're going to pose a lion in any pose, that's the pose you'd pose him in. I think that just looks awesome right there. As far as features and weapons go, he does have a couple. I don't know if I call this a feature or articulation. That's kind of why I left it for this spot right here. If you see this button right here, you can press on this button and you can see his face moves. Just if you remember Beast Machine's Prime, his face would slide up to kind of make him snarl. This guy does the same. His face, this portion of the face here slides up, and then the portion of the jaw down here slides down to give him a kind of a snarl and a growl. You can see he bares his teeth and opens and closes his mouth, and that looks really cool. I really like that. And as you can see, this portion of the mane, the head right here splits at the mane, so you can actually rotate this thing 360. So, you know, you can, earlier when I was playing with him with my daughter, we were kind of doing singing a little song and having him sing along and bop his head. So you can do that with him, and we were just having a good laugh doing that. As far as weapons go, he does have weapons, and he can deploy them in this mode. He comes with 6 missiles. I'm only pull out 4 because he can only really use 4 at a time. And here they are, and that's what the missiles look like right there. If I can hold one without dropping it. There you go. That is what the missiles look like. Can we get focus here, please? If I can get this camera to focus, we're going to see what these missiles look like. All right, there they are. So, 4 of these missiles, and what you can do is, if you come up here to the top of the main, you see this button up here. We're going to ignore this button for right now. We're going to go right here to this. You're going to notice that the main has all these splits and separations around it. So what happens is we're going to go to this top portion of the main here, and we're going to push straight down on that, and it deploys 2 cannons, just like so. And these cannons are spring-loaded. You can pop these guys in right here. There and there. And with the push of the button right here on the top, they go flying. Spring-loaded gimmick works just fine. He's also got 2 more cannons here on the side. So you pop there. I don't know if we caught that. Right here. You'll see there's 2 more cannons there. So now we can take our Lio Convoy here and load him up. Let me see if I can get him in a good standing pose for the camera. There we go. And it uses the exact same missile, so it doesn't matter which ones you use where. Load that one there, load that one there, that one on top, and that one right there. Now, you can store these missiles in Lion mode. You know, you can fold all of these back and put them away, but then you'd have a lion with these missiles sticking out the back of his mane, and that just looks silly to me. So I never really display them that way, or, you know, leave the I never leave the missiles in. I just always take them out. But now you've got Lio Convoy with these 4 missiles sticking straight out, just ready to blow up your face, and all of these missiles are spring-loaded. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4. So he is armed to the teeth and ready to blow up your face. Well, let's go ahead and put those away. There's another gimmick here that I want to show you guys. There's an attack that he does, and I'm not entirely sure of what the purpose of it is or what the effects are. If you know more about this than I do, by all means, please let me know. There's another attack that he does, and I know that he did it in both robot and in lion mode. What we're going to do is we're going to take the front paws, we're going to push these down, and we're going to go to the main, and we're just going to take all these panels that don't have any weapons hidden under them and just pop them out. So that one comes out, that one comes out, same thing on this side, and then the top panel comes out. And that is going to free this main now to spin around. And that red button that we saw on the top that we talked about earlier, if you press on that, make sure the legs are out of the way, it's going to do this spinning motion. And I'm not entirely sure what that attack was, if it was like some kind of an energy release or what. I'm not really entirely sure, but it is an attack, and it is something that he did on the show. It is cartoon accurate, so there it is. And then one last thing, you can go right under here, under the paws, and you can see there are 2 sets of claws right there. Now these are spring loaded. Now there's no release button for these. All you do is just pop them right out, and there you go. They're just being held in here with this tab. You just kind of move them from the side of the tab, just move them past the tab, spring loaded. So he's got these like extended claws. He can't really stand straight with them deployed, as you can see. But you know, if he was doing like some kind of a jump attack or something like that, he could deploy those claws, and then he can tear off your face instead of just blowing it up. So there's all the gimmicks, there's all the features, and there is Lio Convoy in lion mode. And get one good shot of him right quick before we get into transformation. Come on, stand straight, man. There he is. Okay, that's better. All right, one last shot before we get into the transformation. And let's get into transformation. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take the legs here. You probably already can see that these are going to become the robot legs. So, we're going to move the tail up and out of the way. Straighten these legs out. Pop them. Those are going to pop anyway. So straighten out the legs. All right, turn them around right here at the knee. And then you take the paw at the bottom and turn it around, come under here, and you're going to pop out the heel spur. And there's one leg, and you're going to do the same on this side. Turn it around at the hip, rotate the ankle, pop out the heel spur, and there you go. There are your legs, and there's most of your robot right there. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up these little main panels so that we can see what we're doing. And you're going to see that the arms are pegged in right there. The shoulders are pegged in back here, and the fists are actually pegged in the front there. So just go ahead and pop those out there and there. Same thing on the other side. And that's going to release this whole chest piece. And you just plop that down. Now, these guys in lion mode were sitting like this, okay? Just like that is what you had in lion mode. So now that when you pop these out, what you're doing is you're taking these panels here that are double hinge, and they're coming out, and you'll see, let's see if we can move enough out of the way, peg and port right there on that panel. So when these panels come out, they're actually going to peg to the inside of the chest, just like that. Now I'm going to take these what were the front paws of the lion, and I'm just going to turn them around and just bring them up just like that. Finally, here's the fist. Bring that down. Same thing on the other side. Bring that around, fist down. Then I'm just going to straighten out the arms and just kind of let them hang here and out of the way, just like that. Okay? So, we've got our robot legs here, and he's kind of bending, sort of kind of bending at the waist. The whole chest panel is out to bending down to the front with his arms there. Okay, so now we're going to take this entire portion of the lion body. In fact, let me adjust the camera and point this up just a little. There we go. Try and get the whole thing here. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this entire portion of the lion body, and we're going to bring it all the way up just like this. Okay? Now, we're going to take come back. We're going to take the back of the lion here, and you'll see that this is double jointed right here. So we're going to move this all the way back just like that. All right? That's going to create an opening here for the robot head. You're going to come down to what is now this, well, it's still the back of the lion, you know, where it was the back of the lion here. Now it's the back of the lion here. This panel is going to open up, and right in there you're going to see the head. It's hidden right in there. So we're going to go ahead and flip that all the way up, and then close this panel back up again, just like that. And then this portion of the lion body, you can see there's a slot here. This thing moves up and down. So that thing is actually going to slide down. But before we do that, we're going to take this entire top portion of the lion and the bottom portion of the robot, and we're going to turn it just like so. Now, for the purposes of transformation, I'm going to move all these panels out of the way just so that we can try and see what we're doing. Okay? So what's going to happen now is a couple of things have to happen at the same time. We're going to bring the chest up. When we do, we have to line up this tab for the arm with this slot, and this tab for the arm with that slot. Once we have those lined up, this whole chest piece is going to slide down like that and lock everything in place. So I'm going to slide that back up again, and I wanted to explain that first because it might get to a point where it gets difficult to see on camera. I'm going to do my best to keep it all in camera, but if something doesn't get seen, then you know exactly what it is we're trying to do here. So there's the two panels lined up there, and then I'm going to push this whole piece down and bring that back down again. Close all my main panels back up. In fact, actually, this bottom main is going to stay down, but everybody else can be closed back up. And there is Lio Convoy in robot mode. And how cool does this guy look? Now, right off the bat, you'll see that I said, and we'll bring the tail down just to get it out the way. There you go. I absolutely love the way this guy looks. Now, there is one issue with him, and you'll notice that I said to bring all the panels, all the main panels, and close them back up again, but I didn't close the two with the missile launchers. Now, usually on the show, he had the main completely closed. However, with this figure, because he's got the missile launchers here, it makes these main panels kind of big. And you'll see that if you bring those down, it covers up his face. And that's a real shame. So what I tend to do is, the way I display him is I just deploy the missile launchers right there. They're not terrible looking to have them out like that. and it doesn't cover up his face, so you can actually get a better look at his face right there. So there he is in robot mode, and I think this guy looks awesome. And once again, we have a figure that is very, very different to what we're used to seeing in Optimus Prime, yet he's still very evocative to the Optimus Prime theme. He's got the red and the blues. He's got a very Optimus Prime classic look on the head, and I just think he looks awesome. Now for robot mode, he's approximately 8 inches tall at the head, 9.5 if you go up here to the main with the cannons deployed. So take that into consideration when you're planning your display. As far as articulation goes, now he's got the articulation. The articulation's all there, but because he's kind of kibbly, the posability is not all going to be there. The head is not on a ball joint. The head goes all the way around, though. You can turn the head. The shoulders are on a ball joint, but because you've got this panel right here, it would be hard. You know, you can go all the way around, you can go in and out, but you've got all this other stuff here that's kind of getting in the way, so it kind of makes it difficult for any kind of dynamic posing. And if you think that side is bad, imagine what this side is. It's the same thing. You know, you've got a ball jointed shoulder, you can go all kinds of places with it, but the mane kind of gets in the way. So that's unfortunate. The elbow is also on a ball joint there, and then it's got a ratchet here. So this guy, he can go in and out. He can bend at the elbow. You know, he's got the elbow, at least there's not a whole lot that gets in its way, so you can do a lot of posability with that. No fist rotation, but he does have an up and down, and this is due to transformation because he had to peg in the lion mode. So you got a little bit of rotation there. There's a little bit of stuff you can do with that. As you saw, because of the transformation, we've got a rotation at the waist. And then let me try and get the arms out of the way some. You've got a universal joint at the hips, so you can go in and out, and you can go forwards and backwards. Nice clackety joint right there. So, you know, clicks nice and solid. Okay, you can go forward about that far. He doesn't go all the way forward, so he can't kick your face, but he can kick your... I guess he could kick your shins. And then he's got it's about the same going back. The knee, if you remember, the knee is double jointed, so that guy's going to go all the way up. He's got rotation right above the knee. He's got rotation at the ankle, and he's also got up and down at the ankle. So again, he's got a lot of articulation. He just doesn't have the posability because of the kibble. But that's okay, because I think this guy just looks awesome standing there. I mean, that is a very, very cool looking figure. Now, as far as features and weapons, he's got all the same features and weapons that he had in lion mode. As you can see, we've already got the top cannons deployed on the top of the main there. Now, the cannons that were on the bottom side of the main are now on the side of his arm, and this is pretty cool. Let me move the arm forward. So, what it is if you remember, these guys were actually spring-loaded. So there's a little lever here, and if you pull on that lever, it deploys the cannon, and you can do that on both sides. So we'll get this guy pointed forward, and there's the second cannon. So you actually have two, well, not wrist, wrist, forearm or wrist-mounted cannons right there. You can load up your missiles, and you've got yourself two arm-mounted missile cannons right there. So that's pretty cool. So that you can use that to blow up someone's face. Put these away, and I really love this next part. You remember those claws that he had on under the front paws for the lion? Well, go ahead and deploy those, and then rotate this paw all the way around. And now they're positioned kind of like tonfas would be. You know, they're right under on the bottom side of the forearm with these giant claws sticking out. And that just looks mean. That is going to rip off somebody's face. That looks really, really awesome. I really love the way that looks. So there's that for another attack feature. And again, those are spring-loaded. They just go into the tab right there. And then you can just fold those back and out of the way. He's a little kibbly, I will admit, but it really doesn't bother me. I just really love the look of this toy. I love the character on what I was able to see on the show. I love this character, And I love this figure. This thing is fun. I mean, I just like to grab him and fiddle with him and just deploy his claws. And like I said, I don't usually keep his missiles on him, so I usually just do the claws, and I just think those are cool. And then he also does the spinning thing that he did with the mane here. And I know that on the show he also did it in robot mode. So he can do that also. But that's one of those I find kind of weird and I typically don't play with. I mean, it's cool that it's there. I just don't know what it's there for the life of me. I just don't know what it is that it does. That's why I want to see the rest of the show, see what it does. Maybe I'll like it more when I see the rest of the show. And much like our last Prime that we looked at, this guy also has a panel that opens up on his chest. Does not reveal a matrix. It reveals yet another cannon. And then right here on the side, you've got the rub symbol that reveals his maximal symbol right there. So you can see his allegiance. So, there he is. There's now, if there was anything that I could change on this toy, come on, let's get some focus here. Thank you. If there was anything that I was going to change on this guy, it probably would be these cannons on the top of the mane. I don't know. I would see if I could. I don't know if I would eliminate them, but I would try to find a way to make these smaller. Just anything to not have that part of the mane covering up his face, because I just really think that's a shame. Having the mane covering half of his head is an awful shame. If the cannons maybe were smaller or moved back a little bit, or I mean, if there was any way to have the mane closed and not have his head, and if that means losing those cannons, well then so be it. I would try to come up with a way to not have his face covered but still have the mane down. That really is the only thing I would change on this. Beyond that, yeah, there's a lack of possibility due to the paneling, but that's the nature of Beast Transformers. So I'm not really going to complain about that. The articulation is there. The engineering went into it. You just don't get the possibility because of the kibble. I'm really not going to complain about that. That is the nature of Beast Transformers. And I just really love the way this guy looks. I really adore this toy. This guy was a treasure hunt for me. When I finally got him, I was so excited that I'd finally gotten him. So, there is Beast Wars 2nd, Lio Convoy, or Lio Prime. That about covers that figure, and I think that's going to do it for this one. Please, by all means, leave me a comment, subscribe, share with your friends if you like what you see, and I will talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.